on now to the other big subject of the week, which is through government, is the raising of council tax to pay for social care. An interesting subject. You in favour?
Well, I think certainly local councils, the county council are looking at ways that they can afford social care. What's happened over many years now is a lack of investment in social care, and the NHS, my big bugbear as a nurse has always been that NHS care is funded separately to social care, and there's two different services, two different providers, not necessarily a good outcome. It is a bit of a mystery, I've got to say. It is, but that's how it was devised in the 40s, so that's historically how it's grown up. But it's not a good service for patients. Most patients have a district nurse coming in the morning and then someone else coming in to feed them later on, someone else coming to do the medication. So they're having 4 or 5 visits from different people, and both are being funded differently. And so it's no wonder that, we're not able to afford good quality care at the moment in this country.
Well, the health service is being squeezed on one side, social services are being squeezed on the other. Money all round generally, if you're ill or if you're elderly, is becoming less and less available. Now, just bear with me for a minute, humour me on this for a minute. Cancer is a disease and it's dealt with by the health service. Alzheimer's is a disease. It's not really dealt with by the health service. It's dealt with by social services once it's diagnosed. That's the point.
That's my point, is that, when I'm a nurse, and I still work as a nurse in a hospital, and someone comes in, whether they've got Alzheimer's or cancer, whatever needs they have, as a nurse, I look after those, whether it's washing, dressing, feeding, helping them to the bathroom, I do that as a nurse. Once they go home, if they need medication...
But the health service don't want elderly people bed blocking, as it's called, because they have Alzheimer's or short-term memory loss or dementia, whatever you want to call it.
When they go home, the nurse does come in and do the medication, but suddenly all their other care needs are looked after by social care. That's crazy to have 2 different systems. And while money is important, and I welcome the extra funding that's been announced yesterday for social care, until that system changes...
Just explain that.
Well, there's 2 aspects to it. One, it enables local councils to increase their council tax and ring-fence that money for social care. So they can't increase their council tax and then spend it on something completely different. They can do that, but also government is putting extra funding into social care and bringing money that was promised for 2019 forward to next year. So there's more money available now for councils. But until that systems problem is addressed, about merging healthcare and social care together, bringing both budgets together and the services together, we're forever going to have this problem.
Because this is a sticking plaster, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a welcome sticking plaster.
Oh, absolutely.
But it is a sticking plaster.
Absolutely, because there just isn't the money there. I mean,
no one's brave enough to bite that bullet and say, look, this system isn't working, and we need to merge budgets and services together for a better service for patients, but also a more cost-effective service.
Is this what you would suggest is actually the merging of the 2?
Yeah, and we're seeing that in some places. If you look at our CCG in the High Weald, for example, they are starting to work with the local council and commissioning services together, which will save money but provide a better service. But that's being done at a local level. There's not a national strategy for that as yet, and that's what I'm really calling for, because or else, you'll put money into the NHS, that'll starve social care, you put money into social care, that'll starve the NHS. Until you really look at joining both together, we're forever going to have this problem.
Well, this problem's going to get worse, isn't it? Because the population is getting older.
Absolutely.
And
there's a real problem of defining
what's taxpayers actually paying into this.
Well, yeah, but it's a problem of defining what is healthcare, what is social care. And like you say, so for people with Alzheimer's, some of the needs they have are defined as social care, and the council have to support those. I probably define a lot of those as healthcare. So we need a joint service and a joint system if we're really going to in the long term address this problem. Money's welcome, but it's not the only answer. So
what about the thing with the council tax rise? Again, it's not going to raise a huge amount of money, is it?
It's certainly not going to fix the whole gap, but there is more money coming in. So the government didn't just announce councils have the freedom now to increase their council tax. Talking to local residents, actually most residents I speak to say they'd be prepared to pay a bit more if it meant better services. So I don't think there's a huge objection to that. But government's putting more money in and bringing more money forward that was promised for 2018 and 2019. But actually that is just a sticking plaster. We need to bite the bullet and actually look at joining both systems together.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's an interesting one. The other suggestion that was put forward really was the use of the foreign aid budget, because I mean it runs to, I don't know, several £billions, doesn't it? And a lot of people are now saying, well, surely we should look after our own first before we look after those abroad. I can see a need for an overseas budget. I can see what it actually achieves. But there is a point there, isn't there?
Well, I mean, I know some people do argue that point, but also when you're seeing the pictures in places like Aleppo at the moment, you can see why our international aid budget is so desperately needed. Because, you know, if we can't help people in countries like Syria, then they will be seeking asylum here. And you know, I know from the doorstep that immigration is the number one issue or concern of people when I speak to them. And so the international aid budget is to really help those most in desperate need. And I think anyone looking at the pictures in Aleppo at the moment and Yemen is shocking. So, you know, we shouldn't just be taking money from one group of really needy people to address the needs of another group of needy people. We need to sort the problem out. It's a difficult political problem because it's quite uncomfortable to do and will cause a lot of disruption. But actually, if we want to address this in the long term, we do need to bite that bullet.
To end the year, I know we've got a very quick piece to do on planning, but just to end the year very quickly, Brexit, hard or soft Brexit?
I'm probably more of a middle sort of softie. I'm not a hardline Brexiteer. We have to do what's right for the country. I voted to leave, but there are some concerns, and we have to go into these negotiations, you know, without any kind of preconditions and get the absolute best deal. But actually, on the Brexit Select Committee, I've been hearing evidence from witnesses, expert witnesses, for weeks now. And actually, you know, what you hear in the media is not actually what we're seeing in reality. So most experts who were for Remain are saying actually we'll get a good deal. We could get a trade deal without free movement of people, without tariffs. Even if we have to do a transitional arrangement, we can get zero tariffs for as many years as we need to. So, you know, that's not what the media portrays. But I think we've still got a very, very good
so the prospects are good?
From what I'm hearing in our evidence sessions, absolutely.
What about Theresa May's, treatment, should I say, at this dinner? There was a video up, and she stood up, and of course there's all these people embracing each other and talking to each other and being friendly, and she's looking around thinking, okay, you know, what's happening? Yeah. And she was kind of left out of it. Do you think it was bad treatment?
I do. I think it's very disrespectful, and actually, you know, if they want the UK to be, you know, collegiate in these negotiations, they need to play fair. But that's the EU. That's one of the reasons why, you know, it's a boys' club, and if your face doesn't fit, you certainly suffer. So that's one of the reasons why I've never been a fan of the EU.
Okay. 90 seconds. Planning. You wanted to say something, didn't you?
Just that in Newark, we had a planning application overturned by the Secretary of State, which really undermined the Newark neighbourhood plan. But we've had myself and Baroness Cumberledge and some of the former members of the parish council went to meet ministers this week. We've put in new amendments forward in the neighbourhood planning bill this week to really strengthen neighbourhood plans so that we need more houses, but we have a better say of where those houses go. So we're making some progress on that, but it's going to be one to watch in the next few weeks and months.
This is a problem that lots and lots of places have got. I mean, they've got the problem in Uckfield of, you know, new houses. They've got the problem in Hailsham. It's a problem in East Sussex generally, and I think over the country as a whole. What was the end result with this one? Because didn't the Secretary of State overrule everybody, and those houses are actually going to be built?
Yeah, and he couldn't comment on the actual application because Lewis District Council still have a right to appeal, as do Newark Parish Council, so they may well do that. But in principle, we've strengthened neighbourhood plans so that they won't be so easily overturned in the future, because it's really important. If residents accept housing and they say where they want them to go, that decision is respected. That's not what happened in Newark, and I'm confident that won't happen again.
Well, we'll watch this space on that one. Very quickly, Christmas is coming. Are you doing any shifts over Christmas at all?
I'm doing a shift on Tuesday, so Tuesday is not a day to be ill, or else you'll end up with me looking after you.
Maria Caulfield, it's been a joy and a pleasure to talk to you every month this year. We're going to see you again in the new year. Have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you.
Have a good break, and yes, I hope the school of whatever you call it.
I've been very good this year, and I want Santa to give me my trains back. That's what I would like from Santa.
There's Maria's gift. Maria Caulfield, thank you.
Thank you.
Weekday morning.